The sky cracked open like glass under pressure. A thunderous shriek echoed across the red plains of Nix 47 as fire rained from the upper atmosphere. The dropship spiraled down, its hull scorched, one engine coughing smoke, the other already dead. Elara Voss gritted her teeth, wrestling the yoke like it was a dying animal. Come on, hold together. Just for 30 seconds. She wasn't praying. She didn't believe in that anymore. The ship slammed into the rocky earth with a grinding scream. The shock hurled Elara forward into the console, stars bursting behind her eyes. Then silence, except for the popping of heated metal and the soft hum of a failing power core. She sat up, white blood from her brow, and looked out the shattered viewport. The colony was gone. Nothing remained but husks of buildings, charred, skeletal, motionless. She staggered outside, boots crunching over blackened soil and shattered glass. Her HUD flickered, scanning for life signs. Nothing. The signal had brought her here, an old, encrypted Terran distress code. She hadn't heard that sound in years. Not since Ishtar Prime. A faint beep interrupted her thoughts. She turned, pulse rifle half raised. A young man emerged from the smoke, thin, soot-streaked, eyes wide beneath cracked goggles. He held a data slate in one hand and a makeshift stun baton in the other. You're not Vrake, he said, voice dry like old paper. Depends who's asking. Elara replied, not lowering the weapon. The man didn't flinch. Name's Aaron. I sent the signal. She studied him. Late 20s, maybe? No obvious wounds. Too calm for someone standing in a war zone. You sent that code? Yeah. Had to bypass 6 busted relays and reroute power from a backup generator, but yeah. Why? Aaron looked up at the cratered sky, then back at her. Because you're the only one who might know what's buried here. Elara frowned. What the hell are you talking about? He hesitated. Then handed her the slate. She tapped it. Old Terran schematics bloomed across the screen. Layers deep beneath the colony, reinforced vaults, power conduits, neural interface chambers. Project Titan. Her stomach twisted. That's a myth, she said. No. It's not. Before she could argue, a shrill tone pierced the air. A recon drone, black and beetle-shaped, zipped low over the ruins. Elara ducked behind debris, eyes narrowing. Weapons? She snapped. Aaron nodded toward a shattered armory tower. Might be something intact. She sprinted toward it, heart pounding. The drone looped back, scanning. It caught a glimpse of her, screeched, and fired. A blue bolt slammed into the wall just above her shoulder. She dove through the open blast door, rolled, and grabbed the nearest thing with a working charge, an old M94 plasma launcher. Outdated. Unstable. Perfect. The drone hovered outside, prepping a second shot. She popped up and fired. The bolt punched through the drone's core. It exploded midair, showering molten shards across the ground. Silence returned. Elara dropped the weapon and exhaled. Her hands were shaking. She hadn't fought in years. Nice shot, Aaron said, jogging over. Not nice enough. That drone was a scout. Yeah, Aaron said. I know. She gave him a hard look. Start talking. What's down there? Aaron crouched beside a cracked console, brushing ash off its screen. Before this place was a colony, it was something else. A last-ditch fallback from Earth's final war. They built vaults all across the sector, hidden, locked away, sealed until needed. And this one holds what? Not weapons, Aaron said. Warriors. Giants. Elara's jaw clenched. She knew the stories, living tanks, grown and engineered from fallen Terran legends. Half human, half machine. Able to link minds with chosen pilots. Titans. But they were gone. Buried with Earth. Wiped from the archives. That's insanity. No. That's insurance. And it just kicked in. A low rumble groaned beneath their feet. Dust shook loose from the ruined buildings. Lights flickered across the ground, one by one, forming a glowing path toward the colony's eastern ridge. Elara's eyes followed it. The ground wasn't shaking. Something beneath was waking. You triggered it? I opened the first seal. Couldn't go further without an Euro key. And you think I have that? Aaron nodded. You were in the Ishtar campaign. You're Terran-born. You bled for the line. That's what it needs. I'm not that person anymore. Maybe not, Aaron said, standing. But the Vrake are coming. You just killed their drone. And this signal? It's not just a beacon. It's a challenge. Elara turned toward the glowing path. The wind picked up, carrying the bitter scent of scorched soil and something older, metal, ozone, memory. She remembered the last time she saw her squad alive. Standing on a burning ridge, holding the line while command ran. The last thing she'd ever promised, never again. But promises were easy when no one was left to call on them. She adjusted her rifle strap and started walking. Aaron followed, hopeful. So, you're going to help? No, she said. I'm going to finish what they started. And beneath their feet, the ancient gates began to open. The gate yawned open with the slow grind of ancient machinery, revealing a dark passage choked with dust and silence. Lights flickered to life one by one, illuminating rusted steel and dormant cables that stretched like veins down into the earth. Elara stepped forward first. Her rifle was slung across her back now, replaced by a small handheld scanner. The air inside the tunnel was stale, but breathable. The deeper they went, the colder it became. Aaron walked beside her, gaze fixed on the glowing strip of guidance lights embedded in the floor. These tunnels were supposed to stay sealed for centuries. Most of Earth's plans were supposed to last forever, Elara said. Didn't stop them from burning. The silence between them thickened. After 20 minutes, the path opened into a massive chamber. Elara froze. Before them stood 5 towering sarcophagi, each over 30 feet tall, shaped like upright coffins, built from alloyed steel laced with glowing conduits. Each pod held a figure within, suspended in liquid, limbs coiled with neural threads and muscle-wrapped servolines. Not fully machine. Not fully human. Something in between. The one in the center had a face. She stepped closer, heart tight in her chest. It wasn't sleeping. It was waiting. The Titans, Aaron whispered. Real. And intact. Elara didn't answer. Her breath clouded in the cold. Memories stirred. Old training sims? Rumors whispered in mess halls. Names scratched off classified rosters. She reached out, fingers brushing the glass. The eyes inside the sarcophagus snapped open. Elara jerked back, hand on her weapon. No, Aaron said. It's reacting to you. The chamber vibrated with a low hum. One of the consoles on the far wall lit up, prompting for a neural link. Elara stared at it. I'm not doing it, she said. You're the only one it recognized. I said no. Aaron stepped closer. If we don't activate them, the colony dies. The Vrake know this vault exists now. That drone sent coordinates. They'll be here soon, with ground forces, warships, everything. I've made bad calls before, Aaron. Ones that cost people their lives. This isn't about your guilt. It's about survival. Elara turned away. You don't know what it feels like, to give an order and hear screaming 10 seconds later. No, Aaron said quietly. But I know what it's like to hide while everyone else dies around you. His voice cracked. I was the technician who shut the doors on the civilians during the first wave. Sealed them out. Watched them beg. I told myself it was for the greater good. For power containment. For protocol. It didn't matter. They burned, and I lived. And I've lived with it every day since. Elara looked at him. Either of them spoke for a moment. Then the chamber lights dimmed. A warning flashed across the main display. Incoming hostiles, Vrake transport signature detected, ETA, 2 hours. Elara's hands curled into fists. She walked to the console. The neural interface slid out, small and simple, a metal arc that fit over the back of the head like a crown. She hesitated. then placed it on. Instantly, the chamber vanished. Her mind fell into a sea of static, then clarity. A voice echoed in her head. Deep. Cold. Identity confirmed. Elara Voss. Terran command rank, Commander. Status, compromised. Compromised? She said aloud. You carry guilt. Unprocessed trauma. Leadership instability. I'm not unstable. She growled. You hesitate. You fear consequence. You seek redemption more than victory. She tore off the device, breath ragged. It rejected me, she said. It doesn't trust me. Aaron looked devastated. Then we're out of time. Elara stared at the Titan again. It hadn't moved. But she could feel it, watching. Judging. Suddenly, a boom rocked the ground. Dust rained from the ceiling. Then another. Closer. Outside, a pillar of flame rose from the horizon, Vrake landing ships, their engines turning soil to glass. They're here, Aaron said, pale. Then we fight. Elara muttered. With what? You saw what's left of our weapons cache. We don't need weapons. She picked up the Nero crown again. I don't care if it rejects me. I'm not here for its approval. Aaron blinked. What are you going to do? Force it to remember. She jammed the crown back on and closed her eyes. The voice returned, louder this time, angry. You are not ready. You weren't made to decide who's worthy, she said. You were made to defend. So do it. Silence. Then, override protocol engaged. Synchronization attempt commencing. The sarcophagus began to tremble. Aaron staggered back as a hiss of steam blasted from its edges. Bolts unscrewed themselves, locking mechanisms disengaged. Fluid drained. Cables uncoiled. The front of the pod opened with a groan. A single Titan stepped out, 30 feet of ancient war engine, humanoid in shape but lined with armor grown like bone, glowing veins tracing its joints. Its eyes burned white. It knelt. Elara dropped the crown. Her legs nearly gave out. But the Titan had acknowledged her. It worked, Aaron whispered. Outside, the first Vrake skimmer crested the ridge. And the vault began to wake. The vault's outer blast doors screamed as they sealed shut, encasing the chamber in silence once more. Outside, the sky burned. From the ridge, Vrake troop ships descended in tight formations, sharp, beetle-black, their hulls pulsing with violet thruster light. They landed with mechanical precision, unloading soldiers in armor that looked alive. Their long, segmented rifles locked into place. A slow march began toward the colony ruins. Inside, Elara stood before the awakened Titan, its armor glistening under the chamber lights, steam hissing from its joints. She could barely breathe. The mental link had left her drained, but something deeper was gnawing at her. The others weren't waking. She turned to Aaron, who was frantically pulling power diagnostics from the console. His hands trembled. What's wrong with the rest? Core access is locked. It needs a primary override or a second-tier neural imprint. Without it, the other pods stay sealed. Then we're alone. No. You're not. The voice echoed from above. Elara and Aaron froze. A figure stepped into the chamber from the upper catwalk, tall, gliding, wrapped in black and gold armor that shimmered like oil. The headpiece split open to reveal an angular, inhuman face. Eyes glowing with dark intellect. Archregent Kael'Zoreth. He was here. Fascinating, he said, voice calm as a whisper in a storm. I expected ruins. Not rebirth. Elara instinctively raised her weapon. The Titan behind her responded, stepping forward with a sound like thunder rolling across steel. Kael didn't flinch. I watched your species claw its way across the stars. Defiant. Reckless. Brilliant in its failures. He tilted his head. But I never thought you'd resurrect your monsters. They weren't monsters, Elara said. They were guardians. Kael stepped closer. You built these abominations in your image, flawed and furious. But they weren't enough to save Earth, were they? Elara said nothing. You want to stop this war? He asked. Shut it down. Surrender. Let humanity vanish quietly. Your extinction is not punishment. It is mercy. Behind Elara, the Titan let out a low, pulsing growl, as if it could feel her heartbeat. No, she said. You didn't come here for peace. You came to make a grave. Kale's eyes narrowed. Then let it be yours. He raised his hand. The ceiling ruptured. Vrake assault troopers descended in bursts of light, weapons hot, armor clanging. The room turned into chaos. Elara dove for cover, rolling behind a collapsed support beam. Aaron shouted something, but it was drowned in the roar of plasma fire. The Titan charged forward, intercepting the first wave with brutal force. Its fist slammed into the floor, sending shockwaves that knocked the front line backward. One soldier leapt onto its back, trying to hack into its spine. The Titan twisted, grabbed the intruder, and hurled him into a pillar. Bones shattered like glass. Elara fired her rifle in controlled bursts, taking down 2 attackers who strayed too close. Her body moved on instinct, fluid, efficient. The soldier she thought she buried was still there. She spotted Kale on the catwalk above, watching the carnage with cold detachment. Then he turned and walked away. Aaron! She shouted. He's heading for the core. Aaron nodded and sprinted after him, climbing the service ladder with shaking hands. Elara followed, but a Vrake trooper tackled her from behind. They rolled across the floor. She kneed him in the side, grabbed a loose conduit, and slammed it into his helmet. Sparks flew. He fell limp. She looked up. Aaron was almost at the core door. Kale reached it first. The Archregent placed a clawed hand on the console, muttering in his native tongue. The lock disengaged. No! Aaron lunged. Kale backhanded him across the hallway. Aaron hit the wall hard and collapsed. Elara burst through the hatch, rifle raised. Kale turned to face her. I offered peace, he said. You offered silence. She fired. Kale's armor absorbed the blast. He countered with a surge of psionic energy that lifted her off her feet and slammed her against the wall. Her vision swam. Your ancestors feared us, he said. And rightfully so. But they built things even they could not control. He reached toward the main console. Then a whisper echoed behind him. You're right. Aaron stood, bleeding from the head, holding a plasma cutter. But they also built us. He jammed the cutter into the interface conduit. The system shorted. Sparks exploded across the room. Kale recoiled, blinded by the surge. Elara pulled herself up, grabbed her sidearm, and fired point-blank into Kale's exposed chest. The rounds dented his armor but didn't stop him. He turned and fled down a side corridor, clutching his chest. Cowardice wrapped in brilliance. She rushed to Aaron. He was sitting against the wall, smiling faintly. Did we stop him? Elara nodded. For now. He leaned his head back. Good, 'cause I think I'm done running. His eyes closed. His chest stopped rising. Elara froze. The console beside him flickered. A new prompt appeared. Secondary neural imprint received. Synchronization possible. Her breath caught. She looked up. The second Titan's eyes began to glow. The second Titan stepped free of its cradle. Twice the height of the first, plated in scorched gold, it moved with terrifying elegance. Its core pulsed red like a beating heart, and its fingers dragged glowing claws through the chamber air. Elara stared, breath catching. It hadn't chosen her. It had chosen Aaron. And now, he was gone. Still it moved. It moved because of him. Outside, the world was burning. Vrake heavy walkers tore through the colony ruins with beams that split buildings in half. The sky was crawling with enemy ships, deploying swarms of mechanized flyers. Thunder cracked as orbital cannons ignited the ridge. The first Titan, her Titan, stood between the fire and the vault. Elara reached for her neural crown and slipped it on again. A heartbeat later, her mind wasn't her own. No, it was more than hers. Sight sharpened. Time slowed. Her thoughts threaded through circuits and sinew, linking to the machine's soul. It didn't feel like piloting, it felt like becoming. The interface welcomed her this time, without judgment. The armor responded instantly. Outside, her Titan leapt through the vault gate and collided with the Vrake assault mech. Metal sheared. The enemy exploded. She heard the second Titan follow, silent but faster, fueled by Aaron's sacrifice. It moved like vengeance given form. Kael'Zortha's command ship hovered above, gleaming like a blade in the dark sky. The Archregent stood at its helm, cloak billowing, issuing commands in his native tongue. But something in his stance had shifted. No more arrogance. Now, urgency. Elara, a voice said inside the link, her Titan's voice. No longer cold. No longer distant. We are one. Your fight is mine. Then let's finish it. The two Titans surged forward. Anti-air turrets opened fire, she dodged sideways, rockets spiraling past, heat melting the dirt beneath her. Her partner launched forward, claws digging into the underside of a Vrake tank and hurling it like a toy. Enemy walkers encircled them. Too many. Elara scanned the horizon. Her HUD locked onto a weak point, an uplink tower that fed coordinates to the entire Vrake army. A command relay. She marked it. If we take that out, their formations break. Affirmative. Synchronize? Synchronize. Both Titans darted in opposite directions, hers drawing fire, the other vanishing into the smoke. She absorbed 3 hits, armor plating charring, but she pushed forward, fists tearing through machines like wet cloth. The second Titan reached the relay tower, climbed it like a predator, and pierced its core with a single strike. The structure detonated, sending a shockwave across the field. Vrake units stalled. Confused. Vulnerable. Elara seized the moment. She launched into the air using her Titan's boosters, crashing down onto a heavy walker. Her fists drove through the pilot's chamber. Another fell. Above, Kael's ship shifted its aim. A massive energy cannon whirred to life, locking onto her position. Elara, the Titan said. That cannon will not miss. We must evacuate. No. We end it. Her eyes narrowed. She raised her arm. Locked onto the cannon's charging core. Her Titan responded, shoulder plating opening, revealing a dormant fusion lance. One shot. One chance. The sky lit up. Both beams fired at once. There's met Kael's. The explosion swallowed the heavens. The shockwave hurled Elara's Titan backward, systems screaming, limbs locked, vision flickering. She hit the ground hard. Pain lanced up her spine through the neural link. Her chest heaved. Everything buzzed. But the enemy cannon was gone. Kael's ship began to fall, its front scorched, engines sputtering. From the smoke, a final figure emerged. Kael himself, armor cracked, blade drawn. Elara forced herself up, disconnecting from the Titan, staggering out of the neural bay. Her skin was cold. Nose bleeding. Legs trembling. She met him on foot. You shouldn't be alive. Kael rasped, voice torn from strain. You burned our worlds. You slaughtered our colonies. And still, we're standing. He raised his blade. She didn't flinch. You were a mistake, he hissed. A defiant echo of a failed world. You should have let us sleep. He lunged. She dodged, grabbed his arm, drove her elbow into his throat. He staggered. She grabbed a fallen rifle, fired once. The bolt struck his chest. Kael dropped to his knees. His last words came with bitter steel. You'll only delay the inevitable. No, Elara said. We just reminded the galaxy who we are. She stepped back as the Titan loomed behind her, silent and waiting. Kael slumped forward. Dead. Silence settled across the battlefield. The Vrake ships, leaderless, scattered. Some crashed. Some fled. Above, the stars were clearer now. She climbed back into the Titan, linked in again, and looked across the wreckage. Fire still burned, but the sky no longer roared. The second Titan stood beside her, scorched, but unbroken. Together, they walked toward the horizon, toward whatever came next. A voice echoed through the neurofeed, soft, familiar. He died for something real. She smiled. No more running. No more silence. The sleeping giants had awoken, and they were never going back to sleep.